A good night's sleep is a key ingredient to safeguarding both our physical and our mental health. Most adults need between 7 and 9 hours sleep, and children and teenagers need even more. In this session, I'm going to talk you through some top tips to get a better night's sleep. Most of us will experience sleep difficulties at some time in our lives, especially if we're feeling anxious or overwhelmed. Some of the most common causes of poor sleep are work-related stress, relationship difficulties, and bereavement. A lack of sleep can negatively impact on our mental health, and this can become a vicious cycle. A considerable amount of research has gone into generating top tips for a good night's sleep, which is known as sleep hygiene. Evidence suggests that these adjustments to sleep can be more effective in the long term than medication. So the first tip would be to stick to a regular routine of sleep and waking. So this is about training your brain and body to recognise when it's time to sleep and when it's time to be awake. You should stick to this even at weekends, and it can be very difficult, so you might need to set alarms to help you. Make sure they're at the same time every morning and every night. My second tip is to get up and try again. So if you feel that you've been awake for around about 20 minutes or more, get out of bed, leave the bedroom and engage in a quiet activity like reading, a crossword, perhaps watching some non-excitable television. And then when you start to feel sleepy again, return to bed as if it's the first time. Number 3 is make your bed a place only for sleeping. In modern times, when space is quite limited, we often use our bedroom for multiple different activities, including perhaps work, sometimes even eating, watching TV. It's helpful if you only use your bed for sleeping and perhaps intimate relations, but not for things like work, not for paying bills, not for watching TV. Your brain will get into a good routine of knowing that if you're lying in bed, it is time for sleeping. Number 4, create the right space for sleeping. Make sure that your bedroom is not too hot, not too cold, not too light, and not too noisy. This might mean moving your bedroom to the back of the house, wearing earplugs, installing blackout blinds or thicker curtains, and turning the radiator a little bit down in the bedroom helps if it's a little bit cooler. Number 5, relax and unwind. Give yourself between an hour and an hour and a half before bed where you stop all other activity and just take part in relaxation. You might find it helpful to do a mindfulness or a muscle relaxation exercise during this time. Read something that you find calming or soothing, listen to some music. It can be helpful to take a hot bath between 1 and 2 hours before going to bed, because as your body cools down afterwards, you should become more sleepy. Number 6, getting enough light and exercise. So doing some exercise during the day can help you with sleeping at night, particularly in the early afternoon if you can. And actually using a daylight lamp can be helpful. If you get more daylight in the daytime and it's darker at night, your brain will respond to that by knowing that it's time to sleep, by learning to recognise the difference. Number 7, don't nap. It's easy to get into the habit of dropping off to sleep in the daytime, perhaps in front of the television. Maybe you find yourself dozing in the evening, but that's really going to interrupt your sleep cycle. So you should do anything you can to break the habit of napping. And if you notice yourself dozing off, perhaps get up, do an activity, do something to stop yourself falling asleep until it's time to go to bed. Number 8, avoid caffeine or nicotine. So we're talking tea, coffee, red wine, Coca-Cola, anything that has stimulants in. It's difficult if you're a smoker, but if you can avoid the nicotine for a few hours before bed, that will certainly help you with sleep. Number 9, avoid alcohol. Like nicotine and caffeine, you should avoid alcohol for 4 to 6 hours before bed, because although it will make you feel relaxed and possibly even sleepy, it's probably going to wake you up later when that effect wears off, and it might well wake you up in order to go to the toilet. Number 10, avoid overstimulation before bedtime. So in the period before bed, try not to engage in overly stimulating activities such as physical exercise, playing video games, or having important discussions with a loved one. You're going to find it much more difficult for your brain to switch off when you want to go to sleep. I hope you found my top tips helpful. They're just a small selection from the research that's been done into sleep hygiene and what can be helpful. So if you'd like some more detailed information, I've put some links in the description box below. I hope that you've enjoyed this session. If you have, please like and subscribe to see more. I wish you all a restful night.